their clients, the people that we deliver our programs to, are mainly families who are struggling in life, and so. So today we're going to be using a recycled material to raise some seeds in. So we're using egg cartons, which of course everyone has at home and usually either puts in the recycling bin or donates to the local childcare centre. And instead of doing that, today we're going to use them to raise our seeds in. So I'm just using a really good quality organic potting mix here, and it contains some starter organic fertiliser, it's got some sand so that it's got good drainage, and then just a whole lot of organic matter. And we'll just get it nice and levelled out, just the same as you would with any plastic seed raising pot. And get it to a nice level. And then what I normally do is just use my little finger to get a nice little indent into the mix there for our seeds to pop into, and then we're ready to plant. So today I'm using a locally sourced Tasmanian product, which comes from the markets here in Hobart, and I use them all the time at home. Even though I don't live in Tasmania, I find these work really, really well, and so I always buy these seeds. They're a good quality. They use no pesticides, herbicides in the production, and that's really important. When you're buying seeds from a shop, or from anyone really, it's really important to try and get hold of the best quality that you can afford. So we're looking for an organic variety or an heirloom variety. The heirloom varieties are the older varieties of plant, and it means that they haven't been modified or adjusted, which is much better. You end up with a much better plant. So we're just going to pop 2 little seeds into each of the divots that I made with my finger there, and that's because then we get a better strike rate. We might get 2, and that will be really lucky if we get 2. If we only get 1, then we've done really well. But we've got to keep in mind that things like slugs and snails like to steal our seeds. So we'll just do a couple of those. We're putting a sage in those first 6. Sage is a really great herb. It grows all year round in most places. It does die off during the winter time, but it's a sort of a leaf that you use, and it goes really well with root vegetables. So with pumpkin, sweet potato. My favourite way to eat it is to make a pumpkin gnocchi or a pumpkin ravioli, and then do a burnt butter and sage sauce. It's very decadent and it's very impressive, and it really tastes amazing. So I'll do some eggplant because that's another favourite vegetable of mine. And again, this is the time for this to be planted. The season is now to be getting our eggplant, zucchinis, our cucumbers, tomatoes, getting them into the ground now so that they're coming up and enjoying the spring sunshine. So we've got a couple going into each of those, and we're done. Now it's important to make sure that you are always wearing gloves when you're handling potting mix, and that's because they can contain bacteria and contaminants, even the organic ones, that can do us harm. So it's really important to always wear gloves, and to also be really mindful of washing your hands and all your clothing after you've handled potting mix. So I'm just going to be backfilling these now, just lightly, pressing down in the middle so they're all covered up. And they're all ready to go. Now the thing about using these egg carton seedling raisers is that you really need them to be moist. Because they're made of cardboard, a heavy cardboard, they're very, they absorb a lot of moisture, and so you want to put them into a tray with water in the bottom of it, and you just keep the tray topped up with moisture, the water, and so the egg carton will absorb that and it'll come up through into the potting mix, and your little seeds will get wet from the bottom, which is always really handy for them, and they'll start to grow. Now, on the back of the packets of any, or on the front of these packets and the back of most other packets, you'll always find the information that you need to know about when to plant your seeds, how far apart they should be planted, what the best way of planting them. Sometimes they say it's to raise them as seeds into seedlings, so other times they'll say just to direct sow. It'll also tell you how long it is between planting and when they'll come up and then to harvest. It tells you what climate is the best time, or in what climate is the best time for you to grow it. So for instance, the sage, it tells us that in Tasmania that the best time to be planting is the cool, cold, which is a cool or cold climate, to be planting in September. Between September and December for the sage is the best time to be planting it. That it's going to take about 110 days to come to maturity. So there's a bit of delayed gratification going on in seed raising, but it's absolutely worth it. And the really exciting thing and most advantageous thing about raising seeds in egg cartons is that once you've got your beautiful seedlings up, you can just grab a pair of secateurs or heavy scissors, chop them up into their individual little seedling and plant directly into your garden. And you're going to be doing your garden a really good favour, because you'll be adding this cardboard material which adds carbon to the soil, and it'll break down into your soil and it'll just make it even more nutrient rich. It's kind of like adding fertiliser to the soil without having to add any fertiliser. So your seeds, once they're planted into the ground as seedlings, will grow into beautiful plants with the help of your little egg carton containers. So that's it. Fantastic egg carton seed raising. Yay!